Good evening. We're going to do the watch list for the week of July 13th. Before we get to the watch list, if you're not in the room, you should be. It should be a pretty good week. Uh, Fed repos ends tomorrow, but I suspect they're going to put out a new schedule and keep pumping the market because that's just what they're going to do. It's pretty much why the market's up as much as it is because of the Fed's involvement and buying bonds and stuff like that. So I would expect them to put out more a new updated repo schedule and keep pumping the market. Second, this is monthly options this week, so we could see a pin at the end of the week. So we may not see a lot of volatility on Friday, but we could see a lot of choppy action at the end of the week. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, news and stuff like that. But for the bearish side, obviously what I'm looking at is FedEx gapped up on earnings. It's just been going sideways with the market. So I mean, the market pops, FedEx will probably go with it. But I do like it under 155 for a gap fill on FedEx. Ever since I had the big earnings gap up, it's just been going sideways, but it's been going sideways with the market. So I mean, market's up 16 points right now, and the market's probably going to go to 320 tomorrow. And if it does, the market does get to 320. Well, I got SPY on my list. I guess I can do that right now. If SPY, gets over 320, it's definitely, I think, going to retest this 323 area. And if it does break out of that, there's a huge cup and handle that we could probably see it getting to at least the 330 if it breaks out of this cup and handle like setup and it doesn't reject it. So that's going to be like news depending on what happens. COVID cases going up, market doesn't care. Death rates are lagging like 2 weeks, so I don't know if the markets will care or not. I mean, it should, but markets don't only cares when it wants to, so you cannot rely on that. It could be more closures if death rates go up, but right now death rates are appearing to go down as cases go up, but people are forgetting that there's a 2 week lag between confirmed cases and death rates, so keep that in mind. Just because confirmed cases are going up, death rates are going down, doesn't mean that everything's fine. So because I just talked about FedEx and I wanted to show SPY, I'll go to UPS. I mean, UPS is set up the same way, but FedEx is a better play. But if you want UPS, you can get down to 114 for a gap fill. But like I said, FedEx is a better play. It's got a bigger gap. FedEx. Fat fingered that one. There we go. So definitely like FedEx. Baba is another one. Baba just keeps like having insane gap ups and just sold off on Thursday and Friday. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. I would like to see Baba, underneath this consolidation range of 257 to come down here and fill the gap. Even retest this 235 area of which it broke out of this trend. It likes to come back and retrace that, and it's outside the Keltner channel. And when it gets way outside the Keltner channel, it likes to come back and at least test that. So we're at least going to test the 248, if not the 240. And if that works, then probably 235 area on Baba. Now, Wayfair is another one. If you've been paying attention to Twitter, you've been paying attention to the news, there's a lot of publicity going on, with child trafficking or whatever, coincidence, allegations, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's negative publicity. It could affect Wayfair. It's been trending all week long, regardless if the news is not news, but regardless if the allegations are real or not, the publicity behind it can do the damage alone. So Wayfair, I would definitely keep an eye under 219, and it gets to 219. I think I would definitely keep an eye on to at least 200, 190, even the 197 area. So, like I said, I'm not quite sure how Wayfair is going to react with all the allegations and publicity it's been getting over the weekend. It could have a really deep red day tomorrow, or it may not care. It may just be like whatever. It doesn't mean anything. So we don't care if the news is real or not. It's how the stock reacts to the allegations or the rumor or the whatever you want to call it. But just keep an eye on Wayfair for that tomorrow. That might be a big play if it has any reactions. Baidu is another one. Baidu gapped up. You get like a little head and shoulders right here, left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder on the hourly. Underneath 130, I would like under 130 to, retest this. I would say this 125, this little trend line that has been happening for the. How long has this been going on for? It's been going on for me. I probably could draw this trend line. Probably from right here. So it's been going on since, let's say, April, so a few months. So I'd like to see it come back and retest that. We'll have to see if it will do that or not on Baidu. So yeah, under 130 to at least 125 on Baidu. M&M, triple M, I mean. Now, let's get a bearish setup. You get a like descending triangle right here, and under 150, you could see come down to the 147 area, and if that breaks 145, and he gets get a gap down here into the 139 area, so it could gap fill if it gets momentum. I know that triple M provides masks and stuff like that, but I mean every company right now seems to be making masks or making products revolving around that, so it's gonna dip into their market share and stuff like that. So coronavirus, COVID-19, it's still there. It's still a threat, but with more companies making it and getting involved in this, that it's going to affect triple M. So I would definitely watch that on a bearish pattern. Now on the bullish side, BA, Boeing, the stock is just very tricky to trade sometimes. Like I know that Friday it had bad news, just had a bunch of bad news, and it popped on the bad news, and it's just it's just stupid sometimes, and that's just how Boeing is. So, but it is a descending triangle. It is a bearish setup, but I do like it if it can get over 180. If it gets over 180, I would definitely like to see it come up and retest the 190 area. It is possible that if the market does turn around tomorrow or this week, that this bearish pattern could end up working out. So I mean, just because it's a bearish setup does not mean that it's going to play out, because like Roku, which one was it? Yeah, it was Roku on Friday, had a bullish setup, and I shorted it. And what's been happening is been having a lot of fake outs where they'll show you a setup, and it will like fake you out and just go the opposite way. So you have to be careful of these setups that look like, oh, it's a descending triangle, it's a clear, precise looking pattern, it's gonna go down, it has to go down, it doesn't have to do anything. It can just dip just a little bit, they suck in the shorts, then just skyrocket and short squeeze everybody. So you have to remember you're playing in the market maker's world, and they love to trick, trap, and trade everybody. So that's just the way it is. So BA, like I said, over 180 for a push into the 190 on BA. Shack is another one that I kind of like. It's been beaten down, and it's right at the bottom of the Kelvin channel, and it's got a little green, reversal candle right here. It gets over this 48.50. I think that it can get to the 50 plus, definitely 50, maybe even 51, and I'd say the real big resistance would be in the 52 level. So I would definitely watch Shack over the 48.50 area. Walmart is another one, because you've heard the news already. If you haven't, they're trying to make the next Amazon Prime killer. Easier said than done. Right now, it's just all talk. I always think when the news first came out, yeah, it's probably going to help Walmart. Walmart's definitely a big player, but you know how many search engines said they were going to be a Google killer and they couldn't do it? If anyone had the chance to take down Google search engine wise, was Microsoft, Bing, and they couldn't even touch it. So once someone's got the big share of the market and becomes like a household name like Google and Amazon Prime, they're pretty much almost impossible to touch. So Walmart, it could probably take a dent into Amazon Prime's shipping Prime customers, but I don't think it's really that much of a threat. It will definitely help Walmart. as far as like, you know, making more money, because they do offer a lot of online sales and stuff like that, but they're not going to be no prime killer. They could definitely, you know, make a lot more money, maybe get to $150, $200 and by the end of the year, but I just think that that's just them trying to take down Google. It's just not going to happen, or even meet their customer demand. I don't think it's going to happen. But I think that let's see. I'm just looking at the weekly right now. It's so far extended right now. I mean, I'd like to see it pull back and come back to 128 before actually going. But I mean, it's quite possible. Like Shopify and Spotify and these other ones, Amazon, they just keep going and going. So this could end up doing the same thing. I mean, if it does get over the 132 area, I definitely can see this retesting all-time highs, which is 133.38. It definitely go to 140. So if it does break the all-time high on Walmart, it's going to go to 140. So I'm not quite sure how far it will go. Like I said, I mean, everyone can say they're going to be the Amazon Prime killer. It's one thing to say and another thing to do it. So if anyone can do it, Walmart can definitely take some business from them, but I don't think they can kill Amazon Prime. But next is speaking of Shopify. Shopify is next. Shopify right here just keeps going. Like Amazon, Walmart could do the same thing as Amazon has been doing, but over I would even say over 1050. It's probably going to end up going to 1100 on Shopify. I don't usually trade Shopify because the spreads are really bad, but I know people in the room that do, and it's got an ascending little triangle right here. It's probably going to break out and probably go to 1100 plus. I think that is all-time highs. Yeah, oh yeah. So I would definitely watch that if you're going to play Shopify. I can see it push to 1100 plus. So let's just take a peek at Amazon. Amazon's not on the list, but I mean, yeah, Amazon's at 3,200. I mean, Amazon could keep going to 3,400. I mean, Amazon's just a monster. And earnings is coming up for them. I mean, look at the RSI. The RSI is what? 80.26. I mean, it could keep going. I mean, RSI doesn't really mean, RSI means it's overbought, but it could keep going and keep going. Okay, next is Facebook. Now, Facebook has had some boycotts and it didn't really affect it too much. It rebounded, and I think that, you know, it gets over this 245.50 area. It's probably going to gap up tomorrow with the markets. The market's up 18 points right now. So if it gets over 246, I think that it's going to go to 250 plus. I still think that if the market conditions are good and there's no big sell-off and nothing that happens in the market over the next few months, or elections doesn't tank the market, that I think that Facebook's going to go to 300 still. So yeah, I would watch over 246 to push to 250 plus. So when the stock is an open air, when there's no resistance above it, you have to use the big fat round numbers, and the next big one is 250. Then it'll be like 255, 260 and stuff like that. So that's what I'd watch for Facebook. Roku is the next one. Now Roku, I mean, it's outside the Keltner channel. I'd like to see it pull back to the 140 before it keeps rocketing, but Roku can do whatever it wants. Roku gets strength behind it, and there's no looking back. I mean, it did reject this once, I was going to say 160, but this 158 area. If it can clear the 159 area, it's probably going to push to the 166 area. Then it could possibly even get to the all-time highs, which is like the 176. But I would say 170 would be the next one, then the all-time highs for Roku. But like I said, it could keep going for an earnings run, because it did it right here into an earnings run, and then right here it dumped on that earnings. But sometimes these things have earnings runs, like Netflix is going really good with its earnings run, and Roku's could probably go with it. Now Netflix I don't have on the list because it's just up way too much, and I'm not chasing that, and I don't even know if this thing's going to pull back. I mean, this thing could just keep going and going. Netflix, I was not expecting to have a 35-point run on Friday, so that Netflix is just crazy. Netflix could probably end up going to $600. Who knows? But Roku, that's my thoughts on Roku. CLX, Clorox again. Even though we talked about Triple M, the masks. I mean, bleach is just Clorox. I mean, I think Clorox has like the biggest, if not the whole market share on bleach. I'm not 100% sure of that, but they own. They are an asset, or I shouldn't say asset. They are an essential for right now for what's going on. So I mean, they could keep going. I would watch. It's got like a little ascending triangle right here on the hourly. It gets over the 230.53 area. I would look for a push to probably to the 240s area. So I mean, 230 would be a resistance, but I mean, obviously if it breaks that hourly high, it's going to probably push to 240. So Clorox is going to be in demand as cases keep going up. People are going to need it. Unlike Triple M, they need masks, but everyone's making masks, so not everyone's making bleach. There's only maybe just Clorox, or maybe a handful of companies making it. So Clorox definitely has the upper hand in this little pandemic. So SPY, I already talked about my thoughts on that. I mean, it's probably going to open up 320 tomorrow, assuming it holds its gains overnight, and then it needs to test the 323, 324 area. And if it does break that, it's probably going to go to the 330 area. And if it does manage to get over the 330 area, I mean, you're so close to all-time highs. I can see them pushing it to test all-time highs before they end up dumping it. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. I mean, these market makers and the Fed and Trump, they love to pump the market. And when you're that close to all-time highs, you're just so close that you just, I mean, the real test is going to be the 325 area, 324 area. It does break that, and it does go with volume and airspeed that it does retest this 330 area. There's no reason why I don't think it's going to go to all-time high. Just so Trump can brag about it, the Fed can brag about it, whatever. Mnuchin and all these little White House cronies can brag about how great the economy is, and even though businesses are still closed on a lot of them. But that's what I think will happen on SPY. Now, Disney is the last one. Disney is starting to perk up. It curled up right here into the 110 area, and it is at 120, well, close to 120, you know. And if it does manage to get over this 120 area, which seems to be a big number in the past, I mean, it gets to 120, rejects, right here, rejects. So if it does happen to clear 120, I mean, we could definitely see it get to 125, even down up to the 120, 27 area. So whether it can break 127 will depend on the market conditions or any news. But if it does get to this area, it's going to complete a cup and handle on the daily. And if it does break, it'll probably be a strong move for Disney. So I would definitely keep an eye on that too. So that's going to do it for the watch list. That's my thoughts. We'll have to see how the week plays out. News is going to be a lot to do with how the market moves, and like I said, it's monthly expirations, so monthly expirations are a little different than weeklies. So happy trading, be careful, and just trade accordingly. Thanks.